A pleasant day to you all, my wonderful children. How are you doing? Oh, I've missed you so much. And how are your parents? I hope you are doing great and you're always going over to the website to study all the classes that we've done and also assessing the notes online. It's very important because as soon as this whole pandemic issue is over, the next thing would be the reality staring at us in the face, which is external examination, common entrance. And you know you have a whole lot of it to write. Please, I beg you in the name of God, make sure that you study and study and study hard. All right, my name is Mr. Ogunlaro. You are welcome to today's class. And today's subject is mathematics. And the topic we shall be looking at is cube and cube roots. The topic we shall be looking at is cube and cube roots. Cube and cube root. In our previous class, we talked about square and square root, but today we shall be looking at cube and cube root. And the class is primary 6. Now, before we go ahead with the class, let us quickly know those things you're expected to know at the end of this class, which we call our learning objectives or behavioral objectives. Okay, let's look at number 1. At the end of this class, each of you should be able to explain cube of a number as a number that is that multiplies itself 3 times to get a particular number. You should be able to explain cube as a number that multiplies itself 3 times to get a particular number, or a number raised to power 3. All right. Number 2, at the end of this class, you should be able to explain cube root as one of the numbers that was multiplied 3 times to get a particular number. You should be able to explain cube root as one of the numbers that was multiplied 3 times to get a particular number. And thirdly, you should be able to solve some problems involving cube and cube root. All right, let's go to the lesson properly. Now, I welcome you once again to today's class. All right, let's look at it. What is cube of a number? What is cube of a number? The cube of a number is the number raised to power 3. The cube of a number is the number raised to power 3. That is, the cube of 2 is 2 raised to power 3. And what is 2 raised to power 3? 2 raised to power 3 means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. That's why you can see that the product of these 3, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Now, having said that, let's go to cube root of a number. We have talked about cube of a number. The cube of a number is the number raised to power 3, which is that number multiplying itself 3 times. So the product is what we call the cube of that number. Is that clear? Now, cube root. What is cube root of a number? When 3 equal numbers are multiplied together, any of the 3 numbers is called the cube root of their product. Any of the 3 numbers is called the cube root of their product. For instance, 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27. That means the cube root of 27 is 3. It is 3 that multiplied itself 3 times to get 27. Therefore, cube root of 27 is 3. So any of the 3 is called the cube root of 27. To find the cube root of a number, first factorize the number, then express the result as the product of 3 factors. Now, the symbol for cube root is this. Now, I told you in the previous class before now that I showed you the symbol for square, said the symbol for square root, which is this. This is symbol for square root. I showed you in the previous class. Is that okay? That's the symbol for square root. Why this? If I write 3 here, is the symbol for cube root. That is the symbol for cube root. Is that clear? This is the symbol for cube root. All right. Now that you have learned that and you understand the difference, don't confuse this for this. And don't confuse this for this. This is square root. why this is cube root. So this is what we shall be looking at today. All right, let's go to the exercise for today before. Let's go to the exercise for today. All right, let's see what you have here. Okay, number 1 says find the cube of 5 and find the cube of 9. Find the cube of 5 and also you should find the cube of find the cube of 5 and also the cube of 9. So let's go to that one. Let me write it here. Number 1 question says find the cube of 1, that is 5, and number 2, the cube of 9. So let's see how that is done. Before I continue solving, let me make my board bigger so you can see that. You can see that. You can see that. All right. Find the cube of 5 and the cube of 9. So solution, because to every problem there is a solution, and to every mathematical problem you must prefer solution. There is no problem on the surface of the earth that does not have solution. Now, number 1, we want to look for the cube of 5. Like I told you, the cube of any number is that number raised to the power of 3. Just like the square of any number is that number raised to the power of 2. So this is 5 raised to the power of 3. And what is that? That is 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5, that gives you 125. Therefore, the cube of 5 equals to 125. I hope that is clear. I hope you understand that. All right, let's go to the second of that. Let's look for the cube of 9. The cube of 9, the cube of 9 means 9 raised to power of 3. The cube of 9 means 9 raised to power of 3. So let's get that done. That is 9 raised to power 3. That is 9 times 9 times 9. Okay? 9 times 9 times 9. Now, what is 9 times 9? 9 times 9 is 81. 81 times 9 is what? 9 times 1, 9. 9 times 8, that is 72. And that gives you what? 729. Therefore, the cube of 9 is 721. Is that clear? Is that simple? Are you getting it now? It is that simple. If I can do it, you can even do much more. So that is how you find cube of numbers. Okay, let's go to the next exercise. Let's see what we have there. Let's go to the next exercise. Let's see what we have here. So number 2, that one says that find the cube root of 64, 1000, 0.064, then 64 over 125. All right, let me write that down as I wipe this off. Let me write that down. So you're supposed to find the cube root of the following number. So B will have, you have to find the cube root of, you have 1, the cube root of 64, 2, the cube root of 1000, third, the cube root of 0.064, and the fourth one, the cube root of 64 over 125. Okay, now let me enlarge the board so you can see how we solve this one. It is very, very easy. It is very, 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 very easy. Now watch. I hope you can see that. I hope you can see that. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to make you see. All right. Trying to make you see that. I hope you can see. Okay, so let's start from the first one. Solution 1. You are looking for the cube root of 64, right? Now I told you, first thing you have to do is put this in cube root. So you put it in the symbol for cube root, you put 64. And don't forget, for you to get the cube root of the number, I told you the easiest way to do that is express that number as a product of its prime factor. If you don't know, express that number as a product of its prime factor. What do I mean? Now, if you cannot easily, at a glance, look at this and know what number multiplied itself 3 times to get a particular number, what you can as well do is express that number as a product of its prime factor, okay? I know just by looking at this that the answer is 4, okay? But if you don't know that, let me show you another way of doing this. What you can just do is do this. The same way I taught you how to find the square root of large numbers in the previous class. The same thing we're going to do. I said express them as product of prime factor. So put your 64 over here. All right? Now, expressing a number as a product of its prime factor is dividing that number through with prime numbers. Dividing that number through with prime numbers. And you want to ask me again, Mr. Ogunlaro, what are prime numbers? I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Listen, prime numbers are numbers that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. That means any number that can be divided by 1 and itself, it's a prime number. Starting from 2, 3, 5, 7. So these numbers that I've just mentioned and many more are prime numbers. So that is what you would be using to divide as you express this number as a product of their prime factor. Now, the first thing I told you is fast way of knowing what number would divide this. What prime number would divide this? The first thing you need to do is this. Check the last digits. This is 6 and 4. 6, 4, 64. So check the last digit is 4. And 4 is what? An even number. And the only even number that is also the only prime number that is even is 2. The only prime number that is even is 2. Therefore, this 64 can be divided by 2. So come with me. Let's do this. So 2 in 6 gives 3. 2 in 4 gives 2. Now check the last digit again is 2. 2 is even. And the only prime number that is even is 2. That is 32 can be divided by 2. So come with me. Let's do that as well. So divide it through again by 2. 2 in 3 gives 1. Remainder 1. Put it here. 1 and 2 is 12. 2 in 12 is 6. Now, check the last digit again. That is 6. Now, the only prime number that is even that can be used is 2. So, you use 2 again. 2 in 16 is 8. 8 is even. The only prime number that is even that can divide that is as well 2. 2 in 8 gives 4. 4 is even. The only prime number that is even that can divide that is 2 again. 2 in 4, 2. Then you use 2 again. 2 divided by 2, 1. Now, here is where you need to listen. Listen attentively to this. In the previous class, we paired. After doing this, if you were looking for square root, after doing this, you are supposed to pair. That is group in 2s. But now we're looking for cube roots. So you are not going to pair, but you are going to group in 3s. You are going to group in 3s. Did you hear me? Grouping in 3s. So this is what we shall do. 1, 2, and 3. What have you grouped? 2. Put that there. Then you group the next one. 1, 2, and 3. What have you grouped? Group of 2. So this is what you multiply. This 2 times the 2 here. So your answer would be the product of these 2. 2 times 2. 2 times 2 gives 4. Therefore, the cube root of 64 is 4. Let me not put that there. so that you won't be confused. Therefore, the cube root of 64 is 4 times 4 times 4. So you are picking one of these multiplication. You are picking one of these. Therefore, the answer is 4. I hope that is clear. It's that easy and it's simple. Did you get that? All right. Well done. Well done. Bravo to you. So let's move on to the next one. So the next one is, we want to find the cube root of 1,000. Oh, you are doing that already. Someone is saying, yes, I'm done. Mr. Ogunlaro, here is my answer. Okay, let's see if you're correct. So, like I said, to every problem, there is a solution. And to every mathematical problem, there must be a solution. All right, there's no problem without a solution. Okay, so let's go to this one. What is the cube root of 1,000? Just looking at it, you can get what the answer is. Looking at it, the cube root of this is 10. 10 in 3 places, or 10 raised to power 3, is what gave 1,000. All right? But if you are guessing it, you're not sure, you can work it out as well. All right? So let me take you through the process again. If you didn't understand the first one I just did, here is another chance. Here's another opportunity for you to get it right. So listen up. So I said the first thing you need to do is to put that guy 1,000 in the cube root, the symbol for cube root, right? Then the next thing is express this guy right here. The guy right here is 1,000, okay? Express this guy right here as a product of its prime factors. What do I mean by that? I explain again. It means divide the number through with prime numbers. All right? Do not use any other number to divide except for prime numbers. So come with me, let's do that together. It's quite easy, okay? So let's go on. So you have 1,000 here. Now, look at the last digit. Like I told you, that's the trick for you to know what number would divide through this particular number. The last digit is 0. And here is the trick. Any number that ends with 0 can be divided by 2, can be divided by 5. Is that okay? So now it ends with 0, so we can start with the smallest prime number that is even, which is what? Tell me. Yes, 2. You're right. So let's go. 2. 2 divided by 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2 in 0, 0. In the last 0, 0. I just told you that any number that ends with 0 can be divided by 2, which is the prime number, the only prime number that is even. Therefore, we can continue to divide by 2. So here, 2 in 5 is 2. Remainder 1. Put it over here. 1 and 0 is 10, right? So 2 in 10 gives you 5. 2 in 0 gives you 0. It ended with 0 again. So that means you can divide by 2. So let's go again. 2 here, 1. 2 in 5, 2. Remainder 1. Put it over here. 1 and 0 is 10, okay? So it can be divided by 2. So 2 in 10, 5. This is 125. Now, I told you always check the last digit. The last digit right here is 5. That tells you that that number cannot be divided by the only prime number that is even. Then the next one, the next prime number is 3. Obviously, this cannot be divided by 3 because it ended with 5. So the number that can divide this is 5. The only prime number that can divide this one is 5. So we divide through by 5. So let's go. So 5 in 12 is 2. Remainder 2. You put it right here. 2 and 5 is 25. 2 and 5 is 25. So 5 in 25 give 5. So the next thing we do is also divide these by 5. All right? So put 5 here. 5 in 25 is 5. And divide the last one by 5 as well. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now, I told you, listen. Now, we want to group in threes. We want to group in threes. Very important. We're not grouping in twos. You group in twos if you're looking for square root. But here we're looking for cube root. So you have to group in threes. Threes. So let's go. 1, 2, 3. What have you grouped? 2. Okay? There you go again. 1, 2, 3. What have you grouped? You have grouped 5. So you multiply this out. The product of these two will give you the cube root of that number. Okay? So what you do is say 2 times 5. So you have 2 times 5. And what is 2 times 5, people? Yes, someone is telling me the answer already. 2 times 5 is 10. You see, I told you before we started this, I said, just looking at it, I'll teach you another trick as well. Just looking at this, I know the answer is 10. So the cube root of 1000, can you see that? Okay, let me bring it a bit down so you can see. All right, so the cube root, therefore, the cube root of 1000 is 10 times 10 times 10. So you're going to pick one of it, like I explained in the previous slide. So our answer is 10. Therefore, the cube root of 1000 is 10. Now, let me take you quickly right to the top. Let me take you quickly right to the top. Now, here is another trick. If you're looking for cube root of multiples of 10, what do we call multiples of 10? Multiples of 10s are number like this: 10, 20, 30, 40 to 100 to 200 to 300 to 500 to 1000 to 10,000. You see, those are multiples of 10. If you are looking for cube root of numbers like that, now, here is what you do. How many zeros do you have here? 3. Group the 3 zeros together. 1, 2, and 3. Just find, haven't grouped the 3 zeros. Now look for the cube root of that 0. What is the cube root of these 3 zeros? Is 0. Okay? Is 0. Now, what is the cube root of 1? Is 1. Is that very fast? I just taught you a new trick. Yes. So you just look for the cube root, group the 3 zeros, look for the cube root of these 3 zeros, and that is 0. And cube root of 1 is 1. And that's your answer. You don't have to go through this whole process. You don't have to go through this whole process. You just know. And it also works for square root. Let me show you another one. For instance, let's assume we're looking for square root. Can you see that right there? You're looking for square root of 100. The same trick applies here. The same trick applies here. Now, because we're looking for square root, you are not grouping in 2s. It has just 2 zeros. Just do this. Pair it. You know we pair in square root. And look for the square root of the paired zeros. So what is the square root of these 2 paired zero now? Chorus says everybody is 0. Thank you. All right. Now, okay, come on. Okay. The square root, let's go again. The square root of this 2, 0 is what? 0. And the square root of this one right here is 1. So we're saying it is 10 that multiplies itself 2 times to get 100. Is that not simple? It is not simple. So it works for multiples of 10. Let's do 400, for instance. I'm sorry, I'm just quickly showing you this before we move on. 400. Pair the 2 zeros. Find the square root of the 2 zeros. The square root of the 2 zeros is what? 0. Now, look for the square root of the whole number, 4. What is the square root of 4? That is 2. And that is correct. It is 20 times 20 that gives you 400. Why? It is 10 times 10 that gives you 100. Do you get that? So it works for multiples of 10. Multiples of 10. Numbers that ends with 0. So this also works. It is 10 times 10 times 10 that gives you 10 times 10 times 10 that gives you 1000. Quickly, let's move on to the next one. I hope you understand that one. It's quite easy, okay? Mathematics is not difficult. Mathematics is very, very easy. So let's go to the next one. All right, are you following? Okay, now the third one. We want to look for the cube root of 0.064. I warned you yesterday. I told you yesterday, I told you in the previous class that you do not call numbers after decimal points as a group. You call it singly. You call it one by one. What I mean by that is you don't say this is 0.064. It's wrong. You say 0. You call it one by one. 0.064. Now, this is quite easy as well. Okay? Now, the fast way of doing this is this. The fast way of doing this is this. First of all, find Change this one. Let me put it in the cube root. You say 0.064. The next thing you do is change the decimal number to fraction. All right? That helps you to simplify it and get it done easily. Now, the next thing I just said, change it to fraction. How do you change 0.064 to fraction? Okay, somebody wants to ask me. I don't know, but I told you in the previous class. Oh, don't worry. If you miss it, I'll tell you now. You want to first of all find out, the first thing you need to do is get the numerator. The numerator is your whole number, non-zero number. The non-zero number is your numerator. The non-zero number. So simply put, your whole number is your numerator. So our numerator is this 64 right here. So put it up. 64. That's your numerator. The number on top. All right? The number on top of a fraction is what we call numerator. The number on top. Now, how do we know what the denominator will be? There are two ways you can use to determine that. First, by looking at the number of digits after the decimal point. I repeat, by looking at the number of digits after the decimal point. I told you in the previous class that the number of digits after the decimal point tells you what your denominator will be. For instance, if you have 1 digit after your decimal point, your denominator will be over 10. If you have 2 digits after your decimal point, your denominator will be over 100. If you have 3 digits after your decimal point, your denominator will be over 1,000. Like that. 4, like over 10,000. Do you get it now? And another way of doing that is just push out the decimal point outwardly. You push it out outwardly, not inwardly, okay? So you push it out outwardly. Now, the number of times you push it out until it gets to the last, at the end of the last digit, determines what your denominator will be. If you push it out, if you have to move 2 steps to get it out, it will be over 100. If you have to move 1 step to get it out, it will be over 10. If you have to move 3 steps to get it out, it will be over 1,000. Here's what I'm saying. So here is your point right here. So we have to push this point until it gets to the back of 4. So don't forget how many steps you made in pushing it out. So let's go. That is 1, 2, 3. So you made 3 steps until you were able to push out the point to come to the back of 4. So it's still the same thing. 3 steps is what? I said 3 steps is 1,000. The same thing as how many digits comes after the decimal point? 3, which is also 1,000. I hope that is clear. So just looking at this, we have looked for the cube root of 64. We have also looked for the cube root of 1,000. So there is no need stressing ourselves. We just know that the cube root of 64 is 4. That is 4 times 4 times 4 over the cube root of 1,000 is 10. So it is 10 times 10 times 10. Therefore, our answer is 4 over 10. Are you going to leave it like that? No. You have to reduce this to the lowest term. You can see that something can still divide these 2 guys. So 2 can go in 4 and can also go in 10. So you have to reduce it. You say 2 here, 2, 2 here, 5. Our answer is 2 over 5. And that is not our answer. I also told you something in the previous class. Always note, the question was given in decimal point. Therefore, your answer should be in decimal point, except stated otherwise. What I mean is, except you are told not to leave the answer in decimal point, maybe you are told to leave the answer in fraction, or all the options you have are in fraction, then you can leave it like that. But if the answers are all in decimal, as the question is in decimal, you have to also take it to decimal. I hope that is clear. Okay. Now here, you are supposed to change this one to decimal. How? Just say, can 5 divide 2? No. What do? You put 0 point and you put 0 here. You remember the way we usually do it in class. Okay, I know you are brilliant pupils. So you put 0 here. 2 and 0 is 20. Just say 5 in 20 is 5. So your answer is 0.5. Your answer is what? 0.5. Your answer is what? 0.5. I hope that is clear. So the cube root of 0.064 is 0.5. Is that okay? Is that okay? Can we move on? Okay, let's move on. Now let's go to the last one, which is 64 over 125. Let's go to the last one. Sorry. Here is 4. My mistake. Sorry. Thank you. I just looked at that to get what was wrong. Is 4. 5 in 20 is 4. Thank you very much. 5 in 20 is 4. 5 in 20 is 4. Do you get that? Do you get that? All right. Now, I was going to say something the other time that you can as well look at this and just do it just by looking. Just write your 0 point and look for the cube root of 64. Write your 0 point and look for cube root of 64. What is cube root of 64? Is 4. That is fast, right? That is fast, right? Can you see? Oh, you didn't see what I just showed you. Okay. I said right here, you can just write your 0 point, and look for the cube root of 64. And what is the cube root of 64? And that is 4. That's what I just did over there. Is that okay? So let's go to the last one. All right. The last one is 64 over 125. It's another simple one. Just make sure you put it in cube roots. Make sure you put it in cube root. So you have 64 over 125. We have found the cube root of 64, so there's no need going over that again. So you just simply do this. You just simply do this. The cube root of 64 is, you find it differently. It says 4 times 4 times 4 over the cube root of 125. We did it earlier on. So that is also 5 times 5 times 5. Therefore, what you have is cube root of 64 is 4. Cube root of 125 is 5. So your answer is 4 over 5. Someone wants to ask me, why are you leaving it this way in fraction? Because your question is in fraction. Is that clear? Because your question is in fraction. So that's your answer for that one. All right. So let's move on. Let's go to the last exercise. Let's go to the last exercise. So there you have simplify the following. We are to simplify the following. So here we want to simplify. We are going to be simplifying this. So this question can come out in your common entrance. So expect questions like this. So now that you have the knowledge of this, don't fret when you see such question. Don't be afraid. Don't chicken out. Just look at it and, oh, I can remember, and just do it. So we have simplify. Okay, you have 1 cube root of 8 cube root of 8 times 125. 2, you have cube roots of 729 times, is it? Okay, divided by 7, by 27, pardon me. 729 divided by 27. Let me quickly show you how this is done. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, let me show you how that is done. All right, let me make the board bigger so you can see. So solution, please. All right, number 1, we want to simplify this. Cube root of 8 times 125 is so easy. Straight away, let's just get to it. What number multiplies itself 3 times to get 8? That number is 2. Yes, thank you. The number is 2. 2 times 2 times 2 gives 8 times. What number multiplies itself 3 times to give 125? Is 5. So 5 times 5 times 5 will give you 25. Therefore, our answer would be 2 times 5. I hope you get that. You are going to pick one of this and pick one of that. That is your cube roots without the cube roots in it. So because we have found the cube roots now, you have to remove the cube root. We have found the cube root of 8 is 2. You see? And the cube root of 125 is 5. I hope you see that. So what you just need to do is multiply that out. 2 times 5 is 10. And that's your answer. Yes, it's that easy. I know it already. I can see you. You're jubilating. Yes, it's that easy. All right? That is so easy. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right. Number 2 now. Now, we've also done this. I did this in the other example I did when we did the cube root, the cube of 9. Can you remember? Okay. Can you remember? When we did the cube of 9. Now, what number multiplied itself to give us 729? Do you remember? Yes, it's 9. So what you do is say, what number multiplied itself 3 times to give 729? This answer is 9. 9 times 9 times 9. Divided by, what number multiplied itself 3 times to give 27? The number that multiplied itself 3 times to give 27 is 3. So just do this. 3 times 3 times 3. Therefore, our answer will now be cube root of 729 is 9 divided by cube root of 27 is 3. And what is 9 divided by 3? 3. So easy. Yes, yes. Some of you even did it before I finished solving mine. A round of applause for yourself. Well done. Bravo. You're brilliant. Okay. Now, that is the last example on that exercise. I hope that is clear. Okay. Let's go to the last one before we call it a day on today's topic. It's been very interesting and interactive. Okay, let's go to the last one. The last one says, what is the difference between the cube root of 0.16 and the cube root of 0.027? All right, let me write that so we can solve it together. All right, so we're looking for difference. That is your B, difference, okay, between the cube root of 0.16. You can see that I did not say 0.16. It's wrong. And cube root of 0.027. All right. Now, let me make my board bigger so you can have a better view of how I solve this. Now, it's quite easy. What does difference mean? Difference in mathematics means minus or subtraction. Difference in mathematics means minus or subtraction. It means you should subtract the answer of this from the answer of this. You should subtract the answer of this from the answer of this. Now, just looking at it, we can tell the answer. Let me show you the fast way of doing this. Like I told you the other time, this one, okay, don't worry. Let me take you through this first. Now, the thing you're supposed to do here is, like I told you, first of all, change it to fraction. Change it to fraction. How? First, write your whole number, your non-zero number. That's 1 and 6. That is 16. Now, how many digits do you have after this decimal point? 1, 2. So, if you have 2 digits after the decimal point, what will your denominator be? Somebody tell me. Yes, 100 over 100. Thank you. A round of applause for yourself. And I told you already what is difference. Difference between this and this. So, difference is minus. So, put minus. Then, change this one also to fraction. Now, write your numerator is your non-zero number. The number that comes after decimal point. The non-zero number, I repeat, non-zero number. So, and your non-zero number here is 27. Now, to get your denominator, how do you get that? Look at this and note how many digits comes after your decimal point. This is 1, 2, 3. 3 digits after your decimal point. That means this is going to be over. This is going to be over 1,000. This is going to be over 1,000. Are you following? Are you following? Now, I think there is a mistake This is supposed to be square root, okay? Square root. The square root of this, and the difference between the square root of this, there's no 2 here. So thank you. All right, there's no 2. Don't ever make that mistake of putting 2 here. No, we don't put 2, okay? So, cube root, we only put for cube. So, the difference between the square root of this and the cube root of that. I hope that is clear. So, we can now find the square root of 16 and square root of 100. Write it separately. And the square root of 100 minus cube root of 27 and the cube root of 1000 separately. Now, that's quite easy. We have done this before. We know that square root is a number that multiplies itself 2 times to get a particular number. So what number multiplies itself 2 times to get 16? That is 4 times 4 over. And what number multiplies itself 2 times to get 100? What number multiplies itself 2 times to get 100? That is 10 times 10 minus, you see that? What number multiplies itself 3 times to get 27? That is 3 times 3 times 3. What number multiplies itself 3 times to get 1000? That is 10 times 10 times 10. Is that clear? So square root of 16 is 4 over square root of 100 is 10 minus cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of 1000 is 10. Is that okay? Now this is quite easy. How to subtract fractions that have the same denominator? When a fraction have the same denominator, what you do is just write one of the denominators and subtract the numerators. I repeat, how do you subtract a fraction with the same denominator? Just write one of the denominators, 10, and subtract the numerators, that is 4 minus 3. Can you see that? 4 minus 3, okay. So what is 4 minus 3? 4 minus 3 is 1 over your 10. Is that my answer? No, because the question was given in decimal, therefore my answer too must be in decimal. So let me change my 1 over 10 to decimal. Can you see that? See this? Will 10 divide 1? No. So you put 0 point and put 0 here. 10 divided by 10 is 1. So my answer is 0.1. My answer is what? 0.1. And so I hope you understand what we have done today. And if you have any question, don't forget that you can hit me up on WhatsApp with your question on the general platform, or you private chat me with your question, or you drop your question on the school website. It's been very interesting topic and interactive class today. So please go through the video as many times as possible. Go through the video as many times as possible. Don't just watch it one time and you think you understand. If you don't understand, you can play it as many times as you want, 2 times, 3 times, until you understand the topic we have treated. And go ahead to the website to access your lesson notes and do the exercises that you're given there. Thank you very much. Until I come your way again for another interesting and interactive class, my name remains Mr. Ogunlaro. Remember that you need to keep safe by always washing your hands under running water with soap and applying hand sanitizer. And if you must go out with your parents, use nose mask. And it's very, very important that you study and study real good. The Lord will bless you with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and you'll be the best in everything that you do. And in this examination you're preparing for, you'll come out in flying colors, and your parents will be very, very proud of you. Thank you. Bye for now. Love from me to you. I remain Mr. Ogunlaro. Bye.